in Bradenton, Florida. My broadcast partner, Jonathan Torres. I am Ryan Sudol here tonight for the Ascenders Spring Game as your IMG Ascenders host the East Ridge Knights, a 7A team out of the Florida High School Athletic Association. A little earlier than we're used to seeing, John, and obviously IMG coming off of just a tremendous undefeated season, one of the top-ranked teams in the country. The only argument for a better team would have been with Bishop Gorman out of Las Vegas. The Ascenders look to be a unanimous number one coming into the 2017-2018 season. A couple of great teams that they beat last year with 3 state champions for the state of Florida, and we will cover more as we stop for the national anthem. Welcome back after the national anthem. Again, Ryan Sudol and Jonathan Torres getting ready for the opening kickoff and a preview of what your 2017-2018 Ascenders will look like. Again, last year we had referenced that they had beaten 3 state of Florida champions for the FHSAA, and also had arguably one of not just the most exciting high school football games of the season, but arguably one of the most exciting football games at any level when they took on Corona Centennial, going for 2 in the final seconds and able to beat them 50-49, one of the top teams in the California area.
That's right. It's incredibly fortunate that we're able to focus on the successes that they had all of last season, and of course already off to an early start here with today's spring game. But what's great, and I think what's very fortunate for these guys out here is that I would say about an hour ago it was about north of 95 degrees out here, and just before the game we got this great little patch of rain that came through, kind of doused everything, cooled everything off just a little bit to create a much more tolerable atmosphere here as we get ready to kick off in a few minutes.
And plenty of storylines to follow with the Ascenders this season. Number one, obviously, all eyes are going to be on the new quarterback, number 4, Arthur Sitkowski, who's going to be fighting with Zach Annexted for that starting role. And again, both of these guys have very tough shoes to fill, as the last 2 quarterbacks for IMG have gone on. Shea Patterson from 2 seasons ago going and actually beating a nationally ranked team as a redshirt freshman last year against Texas A&M while he was at Ole Miss. And then his replacement, Kellen Mond, committing to Texas A&M. So again, either Sitkowski or Annexted are going to have some very big shoes to fill coming up in this season. We'll see how both of them fare tonight as the opening kick is underway. Back to the 15-yard line. The fair catch was called for, and it was muffed, and so now IMG is going to have ideal starting position back at East Ridge's own 5-yard line. They will start the game going left to right on your screen, wearing their gold jerseys and silver numerals. IMG wearing their all-black uniforms, blue trim, and white numerals.
Well, again, if any of the pregame and prologue of what we've been talking about hasn't given you that indication, this is not the way you want to start off a game against the IMG Ascenders. And so I'm sure they're going to be looking for a way to get out of this really, really awful spot here, on the first possession of the game.
And for the East Ridge Knights, all eyes will be on number 1, Justin Watkins. Plays everywhere on the field, wide receiver, running back, defensive back, the number 1 ranked athlete in the entire country. And they will start and run right up the middle and stuffed after a couple yards and a cloud of dust. The starting quarterback for the East Ridge Knights, Zach Condi, with the handoff again, trying to get up through that defensive line of IMG. Another storyline that we're going to be following on the offensive side of the ball, the new transfer, Daniel Fa'alele, out of Melbourne, Australia, weighing in at 6'8", 400 pounds. And Jonathan, this will be his first competitive football game ever.
It's unbelievable. And again, the amazing thing about this program is that it does attract players from all over the world, and even people who, like Fa'alele, who've never played football before, but understand the opportunity that comes along with playing at a school like IMG and also playing in a sport like American football.
And IMG very well known for taking some of those players from different walks of life and different skill sets. Notably, a couple years ago, Drake Davis was a phenomenal soccer player, and then his first 8 catches for IMG, 7 of them go for touchdowns of 30 yards or more. So we'll see what Condi has now on 3rd and 7. Shotgun snap. They hand right up the middle, play it safe, and just over the 10-yard line, and that will almost certainly be a punting situation. 3 and out for the East Ridge Knights, and we will get to see the high-powered IMG offense.
Well, and definitely what these spring games are for is exactly this. I'm sure East Ridge is testing out their running game. Obviously, certainly in the position that they're in, you'd think they would have passed the ball around a little bit, but I'm thinking they're probably needing to do some examination here of what their running game looks like for next season.
Brendan Radley-Heil stands back at the East Ridge 45, a rugby-style punt in a dangerous area. Doesn't get much yardage. It'll roll to about the 42-yard line, and very ideal field position for the IMG Ascenders, as they will start 1st and 10 from the Knights' 42-yard line.
You know, they certainly made more progress, East Ridge did, than I would have expected, given obviously the size of the players and how quick they were to respond to seeing those runs come up the middle. But needless to say, still a great field position, and certainly we'll now see what this team's looking like offensively.
It will be Annexted starting at quarterback from shotgun. 3 receivers to his right, 1 to the left. We'll see how the Ascenders begin, and it is a run up the middle. Breaks a few, gets to the 30-yard line. It'll be a 1st down. I believe that was number 22, Noah Kane, moving the football, and they'll give him credit for 13 yards for Noah Kane.
Well, and as you were saying earlier, I mean, this is really an audition for the quarterback position here at IMG. Now, while you did many more of the games than I did last season, Annexstad certainly did have a great presence. You know, he did do well when he came in to fill in for Mond last season. But in that same respect, you know, he did make some mistakes. There were some places that, you know, were less than great. But I think he certainly showed that he can be trusted with the ball here in the quarterback position for next season.
And another 1st down. It'll be 1st and 10 from the East Ridge 17, and now some flags and movements as the Ascenders are running a no huddle, even catching me a little off guard, but
that's right.
Starting off on a very quick note, and this will certainly come back, and it will move the Ascenders back on a false start. It'll bring them back to the 22-yard line.
Well, and I think what's impressive about this team is not only the ability to move the ball down the field as quick as they are, but also to have that control, that organization, that teamwork mentality to get to where they need to be to keep that momentum going.
And now Annexted, 2 receivers to each side, will throw for the first time, has Noah Kane out in the flat, tries to get up and steps out of bounds after a very short gain. It'll be about 2 or 3 yards. We'll see where they give him the official spot. But right now, the first 4 touches of the game have been all to number 22, the 5'11", 200-pound running back out of Flower Mound, Texas, Noah Kane. 2nd down, 14. They'll give him 1 on that last play. Annexted, play action, looking, has some receivers across the middle, and wide open, touchdown, Jalen Jordan, the 6'5", 205 man from Philadelphia. Unguarded into the end zone, puts the Ascenders up 6-0.
Completely unguarded, and absolutely not what you want to do against these IMG Ascenders, who will take advantage of that opportunity every single time. You know, and given that, of course, when East Ridge was on offense, they were coming up the middle. You'd think they'd be a little bit more aware of what's happening midfield, but instead leave it wide open there for the touchdown.
And now on for the point after Cameron Gillis, the 5'6", they have him listed as a running back from Budapest, Hungary. As the extra point is low and driven, but good. So with 8 minutes and 44 seconds remaining in the first quarter, IMG takes a 7-0 lead over the East Ridge Knights.
Well, and I'd say a positive first outing for Fa'alele. Comes out clean, but, he got, his first minutes on the field. I'm sure, he's got quite the adrenaline rush right now. And, again, for a team that does have so many superstars on it, he even still stands out amongst the crowd of Ascenders here on the sideline.
So a very positive start for the IMG Ascenders, and we'll see Gillis come back on for the kickoff, and we'll see how East Ridge responds. They started with their 3 and out, and will definitely look to come back. Teams that go down early against IMG, as we've seen very, very often, Jonathan, it doesn't usually fare well for them, as most teams that they faced here at IMG Academy Field, if you're within 3 or 4 touchdowns, a lot of coaches in this state consider that a win.
This team truly capitalizes on momentum. I mean, that's, I think, where you really see Ascenders football at its maximum performance. And so to give them this window this early on in the game is not going to fare well for East Ridge just based on last season.
And now we'll see Gillis make the approach. Sends this back to the 15, and this time it will be Justin Watkins looking for some space, and he is stood up at the 25-yard line, and what a tackle made by Will Huggins on special teams. Looked like Justin Watkins, again, the #1 athlete in the country, already committed to the University of Texas, and he is unable to break through those gunners for IMG.
Well, again, I mean, you talk about the teamwork that's instilled on this IMG team, and those guys just swarm. I mean, they see that ball, they see somebody with that ball that's not on their side, and they go right after him. I mean, there was easily about a half dozen guys headed towards Watkins there on that last play.
And now Zach Condi takes the shotgun, looking for an opportunity to pass the ball, and he is sacked. Teron Vincent, one of the captains for this IMG Ascender team from Baltimore, Maryland, and that will put East Ridge back, and a loss of 10 yards on the play.
Well, and again, let's remember that this really is an audition. I mean, we were talking about the quarterback position. This is an audition for the starting lineup of this team for the 2018 season. So these guys are out there to make an impression on their coaches, on their teammates, and show the rest of the IMG team that they deserve a spot in the starting lineup.
And now East Ridge showing wide, 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left of Condi, and it is Justin Watkins accompanying him on his right hip. Condi trying to make an adjustment, takes the snap. They hand to Watkins, looking for a slot up the middle, and nothing there. Stephon Wynn Jr. shuts him down right at the line of scrimmage, maybe gains a yard, if that.
Right there, he had Brendan Radley-Hiles for the IMG on Watkins, and already getting a little physical here, even though it's only East Ridge's second possession. There was a little smacking around happening, that I'm sure the referees either didn't catch or were just willing to ignore. But I'm wondering if maybe there's some history there, or maybe they know each other. But it certainly seems like they're sizing each other up at this point.
Tyree Baptiste to the near side. Condi, shotgun snap. They try the jet sweep, and it is fumbled. It's put on the ground, and they're going to say it's, in fact, an incomplete pass, that it was a forward attempt to Justin Watkins in motion, and that will bring up 4th and 19 and another 3 and out for the Ascenders.
Well, and IMG, really what they're doing here is what we've seen them do time and time again to a number of teams, which is almost keep them exactly where they are, possession after possession. I mean, they're basically kicking off right where they left their last possession, and likely putting IMG back in another scoring position on their side of the field.
Awaiting the punt. Snap is back. Rugby-style punt, and it looks like it may have been blocked, and that will be downed after a roll back to similar position. They'll have 4 more extra yards to work with, the Knights will, on defense, but IMG will have the ball 1st and 10, again in Knights territory from their 46-yard line.
again, solid performance on both sides of the ball. Other than that, early on in that first possession, we saw I think the East Ridge offense get a little more yardage than I would have expected, certainly. But we're showing that the defense obviously is trying to find their rhythm, trying to find exactly how to best work together to stop this team from making any progress on the field.
And with the hard count, we'll see what the infraction is, as now Sitkowski will check in at quarterback. And that will move IMG 5 yards further on the encroachment, so they'll have 1st and 10 from the East Ridge 41. We'll see Sitkowski already committed to the University of Miami. They've had some quarterback struggles. So all the Hurricane fans looking and now into the flat. And a nice completion to Cameron Coleman. He has stood up for it. Progress stopped, but a positive gain for the Ascenders. And the first attempt for the new number 4, Arthur Sitkowski, is complete.
I thought they were going to place the ball more around the 40-yard line. Looks like, referees being a little generous here, placed them closer to the closer to the 36-yard line there. And so far looking good.
Sitkowski now getting chased down, and a big sack for East Ridge to put Sitkowski back into Ascender territory. Excellent pursuit by East Ridge, and now something that we did not see for IMG a whole lot last year. 3rd and long.
Well, and like I said, it's one of these things where this is really the audition to be the leader of this team on the field in the quarterback position. And it doesn't fare well, to see that he didn't really make much of an effort to avoid that sack.
They'll give him the 49, and now the run is to Kane up to the 40, breaks one tackle, and gets close to the 1st down marker. We'll see if the officials give it to him. But on 3rd and 14, he gets back to about the 36, and they're going to see if they'll need to move the chains, and they do.
It doesn't take a lot of imagination to realize that had they not lost the yardage they did on that sack, they'd be in the red zone right about now. So that's, I'm sure, definitely going to be addressed at halftime or on the sidelines after this possession.
And now Sitkowski and Cameron Coleman to the near side, and a timeout is taken. We will take it with them with 5:32 to go in the first quarter. IMG leads East Ridge 7-0. You're watching exclusive coverage of the Ascender Spring Game presented by Stream Sports.
Everybody wants to be the best, but it takes more than wanting it. You gotta show up. And when you show up and camp here, you'll be ready to compete anywhere.
And welcome back, Ryan Sudol, Jonathan Torres, bringing you first quarter action from IMG Academy Field. Now you get a chance to see on the field one of the largest human beings you'll ever see, both in Daniel Fa'alele and Evan Neal, both standing at 6'8", Fa'alele at 400 pounds, Evan Neal at 385, protecting Sitkowski right now. The handoff to Kane, straight up the middle, shot out, and he gets to the 20 and brought down another 1st down for the Ascenders as Noah Kane continues to move the chains.
Fa'alele, and those two guys, they just look like field goal posts up there, on either side of that IMG offense. Just an incredible presence, again, not only on the field. I can't even imagine what that would be like to be in front of one of those guys, but even on the sidelines, comparing them to their teammates, they're just incredibly impressive in terms of just their size and stature.
And then back to Kane, right back to the 15-yard line, a gain of 6 for number 22, and he will bring IMG into the red zone up to the 15-yard line. Now we see split out wide to the right, Cameron Coleman and Brian Hightower, one of the other captains of the team, Sitkowski in shotgun. And there's the snap, looks to his left, has Kane out in the flat, gets up to the 10, and spun out of bounds at the 5, but another 1st down. Noah Kane's going to need a breather at some point, but for now, he keeps the chains moving for the Ascenders.
Well, if it's not broken, right? And the thing is again, Sitkowski here is not only wanting to win this one for the team, but he's trying to earn that quarterback position. Although, again, Annexstad, I think, had a little bit more field time last year, coming in from Mond on a number of occasions. I think he's trying to make that case, to be the starting quarterback for the Ascenders.
And Noah Kane straight up the middle, gets back within 2 yards of the end zone. As the clock continues to wind down, under 4 minutes in the first quarter. And expect the Ascenders to have an opportunity to punch it in. At 2nd and goal from the 2-yard line. Sitkowski, shotgun snap. They fake to Kane. Sitkowski keeps it himself, stretches into the end zone, touchdown. And the committed Hurricane, Arthur Sitkowski, gets into the end zone and adds 6 more for the Ascenders on the fake to Kane. Just keeps it himself, rolls outside, and punches it in.
Well, he saw the opportunity there. There was a nice little opening. I mean, certainly stretched for it, I think, kind of jumping off from the 1st or 2nd yard line. But, again, Sitkowski's shown that not only can he throw, but he can run the ball in as well.
And now Cameron Gillis for the point after. Gets under it. It's up. It's through. And it is good with 3:36 to go. IMG 14, East Ridge 0. Again, 2 very impressive drives. We've seen 2 different quarterbacks, both in Zach Annexstad as well as Arthur Sitkowski. So right now, Kevin Wright's going to have a great problem that a lot of colleges wish they had.
Well, and one thing that I think it's going to come down to really is going to be one of their keys of the game, which we didn't get a chance to get to in the pregame, but it's certainly to reduce or eliminate any mistakes made on the field. And I think especially in the quarterback position, you're going to want that guy who's not only accurate, and both of them are, they're incredibly accurate, which is great, but also who is going to make sure that no mistakes are created when they're out there on the field.
Fans, don't forget you can interact with us on social media. Join the conversation. Get instant updates on IMG Academy by socializing with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at IMG Academy. Use the hashtag EverythingIsEarned. Also, we had mentioned some of the previous alumni for IMG Academy here tonight. Tyree St. Louis, Trey McKitty, and the former quarterback undefeated in the 2016-17 campaign, Kellen Mond, on his way to Texas A&M.
Watching here, Cameron Gillis here, again, it kind of just reminds me, especially when you kind of just reading down this roster, is the incredible diversity of hometowns that are on this team. I mean, Gilles himself from Hungary, Budapest. We've got players from Bolivia, Japan, and of course Fatlele we've been talking about a little bit, coming all the way from Australia, Melbourne, and the list goes on. And I think that also adds a lot of character to the team when you do have such diversity in not only national but international diversity as well.
And Tyree Baptiste is able to pick it up for East Ridge, but unable to bring it out past his 20-yard line. So East Ridge with another long field. They'll have 1st and 10, and they'll spot the ball on the 17-yard line for the Knights. Again, we've seen 2 3-and-outs so far by East Ridge, traveling from Claremont, Florida. In a 7A school, they, I believe, finished their last season at a record of 6-4, but they do have some size matchups that do work well for them, but so far have been unable to get a first down in their first 2 drives. Condi with the snap, looking for Justin Watkins. A play action and sacked again. This time it's number 19, Xavier Thomas, 6'3", 260 out of South Carolina, and another sack. We've seen 2 big ones early in this first quarter. We're just a little over 3 minutes remaining, but that is going to push East Ridge back even further.
One of the things about these guys being just up the road, you figure they're probably about 2.5, 3 hours away here from campus, is that they are accustomed to practicing and playing in this weather. Certainly beneficial when you're going up against a team like this, unlike regular season where a lot of the teams are from other states around the country.
And now Condi goes to the air, intended for Junior Garcia, and that is incomplete. We'll bring up 3rd and 15. Clock will stop to give them just a little bit more time. And looking at the one of the guys you may see also on the sidelines, we mentioned Trevor DeGroot, one of the other voices of IMG Academy that accompanied you as well, Jonathan, last year. And
that's right.
I'm sure he'll get some weekend duty this year as well. Again, a fun little family here. Also, if you're interacting with IMG and you're part of it, you can also use the hashtag IMGFam if you so choose. And now Condi finds Watkins running out to the left. An opportunity, finds some space, but it is quickly gobbled up. And another punting situation and another 3 and out. This IMG defense yet to be tested. Had an opportunity on that one throw that Condi was looking for Junior Garcia. But instead, they will go back to 4th down and another special teams opportunity for the Ascenders.
In terms of possession, East Ridge has not been able to get past their own 40-yard line, and testament to how incredibly strong this defense is. And while the Knights were able to move the ball up on a few running plays, they certainly haven't been able to make the progress that I'm sure they'd wish they could have right about now as they punt the ball off once more.
And this will track out of bounds again. They keep getting closer. So far, there has been 0 plays in the IMG half of the field. Everything so far has taken place in the 50 yards that the East Ridge Knights call their side. That big sack on Sitkowski actually was brought back into IMG territory. However, his forward progress was stopped right where the ball is right now on the 49-yard line, and we will see. I believe this is Zach Annexstad checking back in out of St. Peter's, Minnesota. Shotgun. One man in motion. It is Riker Brazerall. Instead, they stick with Noah Kane running left side, shoves one away, keeps firing forward, and up to the 33-yard line, another first down for Noah Kane.
That's an incredible run there by Kane. As you can saw, he first made contact with the Knights around the 40-yard line, kept pushing and pushing through, and was able to gain about another 9 yards, 8-9 yards. That again, certainly make a huge impact here as the Ascenders once again, trot down the Knights side of the field.
And now the throw into the middle, and yet again, it is Jalen Jordan going up for it, and another first down. And right now, those have really been the only 2 players on offense to touch the ball, Jalen Jordan and Noah Kane, as well as Sitkowski and Annexstad, and they keep moving the ball forward.
Yeah, beautiful throw by Annexstad there. Jordan had to take just a little bit of a hop to get up there, but I think he put it exactly where it needed to be to give Jordan that momentum to get a few more yards out of that pass.
And now Annexstad back in shotgun, 3 receivers to his left. Instead, they hand to Kane, finds some space, cuts back across the field up to the 10 and down to the 5. It's going to be close to another first down. And Noah Kane averaging close to 10 yards a carry so far. Just been an absolute joy to watch. That'll bring up 2nd and 1 from the 5-yard line.
The big question here is, how do the Knights get out of this situation? Again, they haven't seen the IMG side of the field. They're obviously focusing more on a running game. And while they make small progress, in terms of yardage, they are able to get through the IMG defense a little. They just aren't able to get past that 50-yard line.
And they're going to take a timeout. We will take it with them. A sideline warning. We'll see. Looks like the officials are going to spot the ball and see if it was in fact a first down. And
well,
there is the chain gain finally coming out.
I do just want to give a quick hello, everybody watching on Facebook Live. Love the fan interaction going on there. We are watching all of your comments here, and we appreciate it. Whether you be an IMG Ascender fan or an East Ridge, we do appreciate you watching, and on YouTube as well. And so, there's, it's just amazing to see the kind of support that this team has from around the country, that people are literally watching from around the country and around the world now, and are able to do so thanks to our social media platforms.
And when we take this next break, tell you a little bit more about IMG Academy and what goes on here on campus. And now a timeout will be called by East Ridge. We will take it with them with 20 seconds remaining in the first quarter. The score is IMG 14, East Ridge 0. You're watching exclusive coverage of the Ascender Spring Game presented by Stream Sports.
Everybody wants to be the best, but it takes more than wanting it. You gotta show up. And when you show up and camp here, you'll be ready to compete anywhere.
And welcome back to IMG Academy Field. Ryan Sudol and Jonathan Torres getting ready to hopefully call this next Ascender touchdown. It is going to be third and very short from the 5-yard line. Annexted, empty backfield. 3 receivers to his right, 2 to his left. Now the shotgun snap looking across the middle, and it is Jalen Jordan, I believe, yet again, almost unguarded in the end zone to put the Ascenders back up 20-0.
Now you certainly get to talk to the coach and the coaches, throughout the season and throughout the year. I mean, coming off of an undefeated season, I mean, really, what do you do? What's their focus here in terms of improvement?
Well, it's going to be getting a lot of these guys, a lot of the new guys, just kind of acclimated to the team and the culture as IMG gets the extra point and makes it 21-0. Again, we've talked about a few of the newcomers, but we'll introduce you. We've also got number 52, the center, Vertus Brown, multiple FBS offers. The captain, who we've seen on special teams, Brendan Radley-Hiles, is committed to the University of Nebraska. We already talked about the new quarterback, Arthur Sitkowski, going to the University of Miami. Defensive back number 23. We haven't seen a whole lot of the defensive backs today, but Alondra Strong is going to be headed to Memphis. Xavier Thomas, the defensive lineman, going to Clemson. Another Josh Walker, number 55, going to Nebraska. Also, Stephon Wynn Jr. already called his name once today. Multiple FBS offers. Same with number 22, Noah Kane. Again, Noah Kane's a guy that was not on this roster last year.
That's right.
And so far, we've seen him carry the ball for almost 100 yards already just in the first quarter.
What's incredible is you look here and you've got guys that are 3 years out from graduation, and they've already, determined where they're going to be headed next. I mean, it's just impressive, the level of quality players that are on this team, and just also the standard to which these players are held to, that these schools are willing to make such an early commitment.
Now Baptiste and Watkins back, trying to send that one. It will be Watkins. He fields it at the 12. And then quickly brought down, spins away from one, and then the best starting field position so far for the East Ridge Knights as they get the ball up to the 31-yard line.
This, so far, again, is going to be their best opportunity to swing the momentum, even if it is a little bit, starting here just past the 30-yard line, because they haven't been able to move the ball past the 50-yard line as of yet.
Even if they go 3 and out yet again, they'll at least have an opportunity to pin IMG back in their half of the field, as we've got 7 seconds remaining in the first quarter.
Watching here the Facebook live feed and all the comments we're getting, already Fa'alele with a huge fan base. We know that there's people watching from all the way over in Australia. Thank you guys for doing so. And again, this Facebook live feed, you can expect it throughout the regular season as well.
Now Condi with the hand to Watkins finally has some space running on the outside, but he is cut down after a flag is thrown. And it's none other than the guy who will be cheering Big Red, Brandon Radley-Hiles, number 44, who is able to cut down that angle. And we'll see what the penalty is. It is holding. And even with the holding penalty, John, it's just incredible to see how quick this defensive secondary is for the Ascenders, that they were able to shut that down even while being held. That's
right. Well, and not only early on in this game, but even now, mistakes and penalties are not what you want to have against an IMG team that's already got 21 points on you as we kind of close in here, towards the end of the first quarter.
East East Ridge Knights as the clock has ended, but with the holding penalty, they'll get one last play in the first quarter before we switch ends.
Incredibly costly penalty here, as they've pretty much lost, about half the distance from where they were.
And now Condi back in shotgun. Justin Watkins behind him. A little bit of a pistol formation. And now Condi, the hand to Watkins, looking for space, tries to run up the middle and quickly shut down the future Longhorn, tries to get back to the original line of scrimmage. That is the end of the first quarter. After a short gain, it is IMG 21, East Ridge 0. We'll have second quarter action for you momentarily. You are watching the IMG Ascenders spring game. And there we saw some of the replays of some of the bigger plays earlier in this evening. Noah Kane and also Zach Annexted, as the IMG defense looking to stay as close to perfect as you possibly can. They've had 2 3-and-outs already. 3 3-and-outs already. Looking to get their fourth. 2nd and 17. East Ridge from their own 25-yard line. Condi with Watkins directly behind him. 2 receivers to his left, 1 to the right. There's the snap. Looking, fakes to Watkins. Pressure coming into the flat, and that will bounce off of the knee of Tyler Blodgett and will bring up 3rd and very long for the East Ridge Knights. And a very must passing down right now for East Ridge as they try to get any kind of momentum if they wish to get on the scoreboard.
Definitely got to give credit to the offense and defense on this IMG team, as I know one of the big things for the coach is to eliminate penalties, and we certainly had, at least on the IMG side, a clean first quarter. So far we're seeing that, the guys have that rhythm, that I think you need to be a successful team like they were last season.
Now Condi has Watkins out to his right. Last time we saw this formation, Watkins tried the jet sweep and fumbled. Now looking deep, that one into the flat. They have Baptiste, and he tries to get up past the 30, unable to get back to the original line of scrimmage. Another punting down for East Ridge.
What's incredible about this defense is that you see the opportunities for East Ridge. You see that opening where these guys are going to go down, and just as they start to go down that opening, those IMG Ascenders are just right there. They just come out of nowhere, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, and take that down.
So from their own 28, possibility that we will see the ball in IMG territory for the first time tonight. Snap is back, rugby spot style punt, and that will track out of bounds. We'll see where they spot it. And the official is putting it at the 44-yard line, it looks like, or maybe even the 40. And that will happen. So an opportunity to put IMG back in their own half. Instead, another short field for the Ascenders.
Well, and again, really, the focus here is, again, to make sure that these guys are following through, with all the techniques, making sure that they're all on the same page and executing the way they should be, even though, again, the points are obviously in IMG's favor. I think the focus here, especially in a spring game, is just focusing on the technique and the plays that have been taught to them.
And now we see Sitkowski. And a penalty against East Ridge. Sitkowski, again, the University of Miami commit, also has Tate Jernigan in the backfield with him at 5'6", 160. Now across the middle, and that one just in and out of the hands of Jalen Jordan, unable to bring that in for a positive gain, and that will go down as an incomplete. It'll bring up 2nd and 5.
Jalen is a dangerous, dangerous guy, especially downfield. He's tall, he's slim, he's fast, and he's got the reach, too. So it gives a lot of flexibility to these quarterbacks to hit a guy like Jalen downfield.
And now Sitkowski back in shotgun, 3 wide. Now looking, has a man in the flat. It is Cameron Coleman. Tries to get some space. He's up to the 30, cuts back at the 25, and now he's up to the 20, and then finally out after getting another Ascender first down. And another big gain for IMG. Cameron,
5'11", 170. Be graduating in 19. He's from Missouri again. Nice to kind of see him change it up a little bit and give some of the other guys some ball time. Again, it's not just about catching the ball. It's also about, what you do with it afterwards, and he was able to capitalize on that.
And looks like they will, in fact, call holding against the Ascenders, so that'll bring him back to the 40. It'll be 2nd and 10 from the 40-yard line of East Ridge. And we will see again, spread out wide. This time 3 receivers to the left. Tate Jernigan on Sitkowski's right hip.
It's happened to me last season where I would compliment them on something, and sure enough.
Sitkowski sacked in the backfield. Leroy rushing. Catches the edge, gets Sitkowski's blind side, and now puts IMG at 3rd and long, back on the 49-yard line.
Well, 2nd sack there for Sitkowski. That's really unfortunate. But like I was saying, as soon as I compliment them, it seems like, I jinxed them, because I was talking about them being penalty-free up until this point, and sure enough, this penalty has now evolved into a sack, and we'll see how they can get out of this hole.
Shotgun snap. Tate Jernigan with some space to his right. He cuts up field at the 40, and he is brought down just shy of the first down stick at the 33-yard line, so they will be 3 yards shy. And this is one of those in-between positions for IMG where there might be a little too far for a field goal, a little too close to punt. So I think head coach Kevin Wright is just going to go for it as we see Sitkowski back in shotgun. Going to try and catch East Ridge off guard into the flat. And that one is caught by Hightower, but he is brought down, can't keep his feet. And that will be the first turnover in a nice defensive stance by East Ridge.
Well, it was just enough to get him off balance there, to get his knee down to the ground, because he certainly tried to recover, but I think the ref saw the knee touch, and that was the end of that possession. I do want to give it up, to Jernigan there. 5'6", 160, kind of looks like Wes Welker out there, just incredibly quick coming down the field.
Shot out of a cannon was Tate Jernigan on that run to set up that 4th and 3. And now from the 37-yard line, East Ridge still moving closer to midfield. Have yet to have a play in this game start in IMG territory. And right now, quarterback Zach Condi going to be looking to do just that. Condi takes the snap, fakes to Watkins in the backfield, and he is stood up right at the line of scrimmage, and that is not a defensive line that you want to run into.
No, I mean, again, they've been fortunate where they've been able to find some pockets and make some gains, but right there, I mean, it was just it's hitting the wall. I mean, those guys are big, and they will stop you.
Also, Brian Lumsden in the backfield for East Ridge. Splitting out wide to the near side is Ryan Michelle and Darian Steadwell. Now there's the snap into the flat, looking for A.J. Thomas. He has it, trying to get that first down for East Ridge, and he's close to it to bring up 3rd and short for the Knights. At 9 minutes remaining in this first half, IMG with the 3-score lead at 21-0. So 3rd and about 4 yards for East Ridge. They have yet to get a first down in this game, and they will be looking to change that right now.
What is impressive, and this goes for last season as well for the IMG defense, is that these guys, they don't just wait down at the end of the other side of the field for the play to be over. They all rush. They congregate. They're drawn to the ball to make sure that there's no progress made there from the other side.
Now Condi to Lumsden, but Lumsden stopped in the backfield, maybe inches forward on the falling down, but that will bring up fourth down, and this is not ideal for East Ridge, even though this is about where IMG has started every drive so far. See Condi come off the field, and we'll see if they want to try and get that first down of the game or play it safe and punt it away and try to push IMG back. And it looks like Condi is going to stay on the field.
Yeah, they've got about 15 yards just to get past the 50-yard line here, and they've only got, I would say, they're just short of 10 yards they're just short of about 5 yards to get this first down, but I really haven't seen them make that kind of progress at any point this game.
And maybe Condi looking for a hard count. There's the snap, looking across, trying to find a man, and it is intercepted. It is Radley Hiles looking for space to the 45. He's out wide to the 40, upfield at the 30, and then finally brought out of bounds. And the first interception for the Nebraska commit on this young season, Brendan Radley Hiles, gets it back for the Ascenders.
Great vision downfield. He saw that obviously directly in front of him was not going to be the way to make some progress down this field. He came downfield and started to go up and was able to make a heck of a run here with that first interception of the game and for the 2018 quote-unquote season.
And now we'll see Annexstad come back on after Sitkowski had the turnover on downs. So far, Zach Annexstad has had 2 perfect drives. And the officials just having a quick conference around the 30-yard line to see exactly where that ball went out of play. And then they're going to assess whatever the extracurricular penalty was. There was a late flag that came in. And they will pause to take the FHSAA regulated water break. We will take it with them. 7:21 remaining. IMG 21, East Ridge 0. This is the Ascender Spring Game. Welcome back. 1st and 10 from the 15-yard line. A costly penalty for East Ridge. Annexstad shotgun snap is low. They hand it to Jernigan up the middle to the 5 and into the end zone. Touchdown. Tate Jernigan from 15 yards out dances his way through the secondary and almost untouched gets into the end zone.
I think Annexstad, saw his performance there in that other run and saw, let me give this kid another shot. And sure enough, he is lightning quick and great to see him get in the end zone.
It is FHSAA rule. If IMG score again, go up 35-0, there will be a running clock for the remainder of the game. And obviously with a spring game like this, and there's really nothing on the line except for pride, most of these guys just want to leave this game with a little bit of game experience and to stay perfectly healthy. And they try to block, and that goes up, and it is good. IMG 28, East Ridge 0. And John, there's not really a whole lot to say, but
no.
This is pretty much what we expected coming into this matchup tonight.
Well, and following that interception, my first line of thought was, is there some sort of checklist, somewhere that maybe the coach has, and he's like, okay, interception, check. running touchdown, check. Because really they're kind of hitting on all cylinders. I mean, you certainly wouldn't think that this is a spring game and that you certainly wouldn't have as many first-timers out on the field representing IMG.
And we know Kevin Wright was hoping to get as many players some active game minutes today. And that is exactly what we have seen in both two great performances so far from Zach Annexted and Arthur Sikowski. So we'll see how the Ascenders will adjust again. Still months away from the regular season kicking off for IMG. And those of you unaware what IMG Academy is, it is one of the most elite training facilities in all the world, not just for football, but there's track and field. The NCAAs are hosted here as well. There's also IMG soccer, baseball, lacrosse, all internationally known, and as well as some other major events. Cam Newton runs a 7-on-7 tournament here every year.
That's
Major
right.
League Soccer and the United Soccer Leagues hold their preseason here. Also IMG Cup, which brings some of the most renowned international academies here for soccer. As now we see Watkins trying to make a special teams play, and he tries to break it loose, and he's able to break one, and just saw a nasty block by Andy Thurston. And that is probably going to be maybe a targeting penalty, because Thurston put a huge hit on an Ascender. We'll see where that penalty flag comes in, but it was definitely a late block behind the play.
Well, best starting field position for sure for East Ridge in this game so far. But, this penalty could be what gets them across the 50-yard line here for the first time in this game.
Waiting to see what the official call is, and it looks like East Ridge is moving back. So discipline definitely going to be on the mind of head coach Ashur Pira, as that will bring them back 15 yards on what was certainly a personal foul, and back to the 25-yard line. So no breaks for East Ridge and the Knights, and it is a personal foul. No doubt it was on that block.
Yeah,
Thurston.
Well, again, unfortunate, for East Ridge, because, again, that could have been their best starting possession or position for that possession or starting point in this game for them. And, it's one of those things where, something like that really just continues to put them in a hole that they're very strongly trying to get out of as we look at a 28-0 scoreboard.
And now Condi hands to Brian Lumsden, and brought down behind the line of scrimmage. Another short loss for the East Ridge Knights. And one of the reasons we see some of these schools come into IMG, and talking to a lot of the opposing coaches that come to Bradenton to play IMG, knowing that this is going to be a similar result no matter who plays IMG. And a lot of these coaches schedule IMG so they can find out their weaknesses. As we mentioned, 3 of the teams that IMG absolutely destroyed last year ended up going on to win state championships. So that might be what's on the mind of East Ridge tonight. Now Condi in shotgun, 3 receivers to his left. And he's going to keep it himself, and finally gets a big play. Condi out wide and gets past the 40. And we'll see where they spot it. It's going to be the 38-yard line.
Well, whenever I talk to people about IMG Academy, the analogy I like to use for comic book fans out there, I equate it to the Xavier School of the Gifted, where you've really got these amazing athletes in just about every sport. And really, they're the ones that set the standard nationally and internationally, coming out of this school. And I think, these coaches are able to get a really good temperature on where their team is at when they go up against a team like IMG.
So with 6:14 remaining in the first half, East Ridge gets their first down of the game. And now Condi rolling to his left, looking for a deep ball. And a pass interference is going to be called. That against Alondra Strong. Didn't turn to look at the ball, made contact with the receiver, David Batista. So pass interference is going to put the ball in IMG territory for the first time tonight.
Well, and maybe not the best timing, but I did get to meet Alondra's family before the game, so a little shout out to Huntsville, Alabama, where I actually spent about a year myself. A beautiful part of the country, a lot of great people there, great town, and of course Rocket City, home of Redstone Arsenal. So just a little shout out to Huntsville there and the Strong family who are here in the stands watching him play this spring game.
1st and 10 from the IMG 46. Have not had a chance to say that yet. The first time the ball has been on this side of the field tonight. Now we'll see if East Ridge can break through and find the end zone, as they've had 3 positive plays so far, partially because of IMG error. Condi with 3 receivers to his right, 1 to his left. Takes the shotgun snap, and they fake the handoff, but Condi not going anywhere. Instead, it is Nolan Smith who has other plans as he sacks East Ridge's quarterback, Zach Condi.
Well, the fake certainly didn't fake anyone. I mean, because Smith was right there and ready, and really, I mean, kind of manhandled, for lack of a better term, the quarterback there, threw him down, didn't even have to go down with him. And so not really a good situation there for East Ridge.
So Zach Condi looked like he wanted to give it to Brian Lumsden or Watkins. Instead, keeps it himself, which was probably a big mistake. Condi, 2 receivers to each side, now looking to go back to the air. Pressure coming. His hit as it goes up and almost intercepted just through the hands of Micah Abraham, one of the locals from Tampa, Florida. And that will bring up 3rd down for East Ridge.
It's also great to see, that despite, the draw that this program gets from around the world, that, there are players here that represent, the local Tampa Bay area and, of course, the state of Florida at large, which is, again, great to see on an international program, really, like IMG Academy.
3rd and long for the Knights. 3 receivers right, 1 to the left. Only 1 man in the backfield. Now in motion, A.J. Thomas switches to the left side. In motion is Watkins. They go with the jet sweep. And that is snuffed out quickly, pushed out of bounds. There's a flag in the backfield. And that will almost certainly be some sort of illegal formation. And it looks like head coach Kevin Wright probably going to decline that call and bring up 4th down.
A great speed by Watkins there, just trying to look for an opening to get downfield, but IMG was not having it. And if you kind of notice a little bit in kind of the size of some of the players, they've definitely swapped some of the players out. And I think as coach kind of looks at the scoreboard and realizes, that it may be kind of an early finish, he's closing in, swapping out some of these players, making sure that he's kind of rotating them in and getting as much field time for these guys as possible.
So back in East Ridge territory, they will punt from their own 46-yard line. 4th and 20. Great snap back, pressure coming, rugby style. Tracking out of bounds and not much distance on it at all. I want to thank you guys for tuning in on Facebook Live, spending your evening with us here Thursday night in Bradenton, Florida, just about 40 minutes or so south of the Tampa Bay area, mostly called Tampa Bay Area Extended.
Yeah.
Another short field for IMG, but we'll address some of the questions that you guys have in the Facebook Live chat room. I've seen a few comments, a couple people cheering on from their respective homes. As we will see, I believe that is Arthur Sitkowski back on, and actually, no, this is Bryson Lucero, another quarterback that has seen some minutes. In the run off to the left, that is Chandler Magruder, 5'8", 170 out of Indianapolis, Indiana.
Well, and while I think we got really good, solid performances by Sitkowski and Annexstad, I think obviously the major difference there was the 2 sacks on Sitkowski that could be the difference maker for the starting lineup in 2018.
So 2nd and 9, Lucero in shotgun. Off to Magruder, left side. Tries to sprint forward and brought down. Another short gain for the Ascenders as the clock continues to wind. And that will gain just about another yard. They'll put IMG at the 47-yard line, 3rd and a long 8. Again from the East Ridge 47. Now Lucero. Shotgun snap. This time he'll look for the air. Into the middle, has a man, and it is caught but then knocked loose. Riker Brazerol had his hands on it, and that will go down as an incomplete and will bring up a 4th and long for the Ascenders.
Well, it's certainly firing up the Knights. They're maybe hoping to capitalize on some of that positive energy there after an almost interception, because it's really kind of been the bright spot so far in this game for Eastridge.
And they are going to go for it on 4th and 8. Lucero, shotgun snap, looking for Magruder. A little bubble screen just up to the top, and that is going to be close to a first down. We'll see where they spot it. Looks like that might have been Will Huggins. And it is a first down for IMG. So on 4th and 8, they convert with the 3rd quarterback on the depth chart.
Well, just want to say a quick good morning to those out in Melbourne, Australia. They're leaving us some great comments on the Facebook Live. Seta Fa'alele, certainly a family member there, Mr. 72, who, again, I think left a great first impression here in his first game ever with IMG Academy.
Now Magruder dancing through the line of scrimmage, trying to find some more space and maybe get that last score right in before halftime. Again, I've seen a couple of people in the chat room, Jonathan, being a little critical of what is done at IMG. I know there's been a lot of criticism from certain states. For example, the state of Texas doesn't want to play IMG ever again. And that will be a fumble. And it looks like Cameron Coleman had his hands on it, and they'll try and decide if it was an incomplete pass. And they're going to say he caught it and fumbled it. So East Ridge with the turnover.
Well, and in most scenarios, I think you think this is obviously a huge opportunity, but really in terms of field position, it doesn't really give East Ridge any much more of a position than what they've already had this game so far, as they kind of find themselves here on the 35, on their own 35-yard line.
So 1st and 10 from their own 35. And still trying to get through. They've only gotten the couple first downs. It took them till halfway through this 2nd quarter. And Zach Condi, shotgun snap, now looking. Has a complete pass, and they do the hook and ladder successfully to Watkins. He's down to the 40. He might go all the way. He's to the 20, the 10. Touchdown on the hook and ladder. What a play by East Ridge and the Knights.
Well, this may be exactly what they needed to get back in this game, because it certainly was looking pretty bleak until now. Only about 2.5 minutes left in this half, and I'm sure they're elated to have some points on the board.
And I know it might be against the Ascenders, but that's definitely a play that belongs on SportsCenter against one of the best teams in the country, East Ridge, and the #1 athlete in the country in Justin Watkins just had a play that was top 10 worthy.
Well, and again, if you're an East Ridge coach, I think you're looking at your situation and saying, all right, we got to pull, a rabbit out of the hat here to put some points on the board, and that's exactly what they did.
And you'll often see that when some teams know that they're outmatched, they'll pull every trick out of the book to try and make it happen, and that hook and ladder perfectly executed. And now a penalty assessed on the point after.
One of the things that's been interesting about this East Ridge team is that they keep going for what you've been calling the rugby-style punts. And, it makes you wonder why they wouldn't, just try to kick it as far down the field as possible when, their kicker, punter, certainly has the leg for it. Really, you've seen them go for these kind of midfield punts that really hasn't helped their situation at all so far this game.
And now they will go for 2. East Ridge, they go up the middle for Lumsden, and he is brought down, no good on the 2-point conversion. With 2:36 remaining in the half, IMG 28, East Ridge 6.
All right, going to look at a replay here.
Beautifully snuffed out as Watkins gets on that edge. Again, the initial pass was perfectly guarded by IMG. Nobody saw the hook and ladder coming.
Well, and I think Watkins has kind of been waiting the whole game to get that opportunity to show why he is the #1 athlete in the country. And we certainly saw some speed there. Again, it gives a little bit of a bright spot here and an otherwise pretty dark game for the Knights.
Everybody in Austin, Texas going to be looking forward to having Justin Watkins on the team. Again, we hadn't seen a whole lot from him. He's been trying to run inside and a couple of little sweeps and off tackles, but that play is what everybody at the University of Texas wants to see a little bit more of. So now we'll get to see East Ridge off the tee for the first time tonight. It looks like Radley Hiles back to return. And he has it at the 3. Breaks up to the 20, finds some space, cuts through, able to get through again. Radley Hiles with a chance for a big return. The spin, he gets through to the 30, the 20, 15, 10, 5, 97 yards. Touchdown for Brendan Radley Hiles. Wow.
If there's any way to respond to a hook and ladder, that's it right there. That was absolutely impressive.
97 yards for number 44. And just as everybody at the University of Texas is focusing on the great play by Justin Watkins, here comes Big Red, and the University of Nebraska commit impresses again. He's already got an interception to go along with that beautiful 97-yard touchdown return.
Radley Hiles there clearing the bench because everybody was just blown away by that run, and deservedly so. That was impressive, and certainly not something you see in every spring game.
On consecutive plays, just absolutely unbelievable from both teams. Incredible.
Well, and if you've watched IMG at all, especially last season, you know that for every reaction, there is for every action, there's an even bigger reaction from the IMG Ascenders, and that's an example of it right there. A huge play, just after East Ridge put some points on the board.
2:18 remaining in the half. IMG 35, East Ridge 6. And again, a lot of these newcomers for IMG and the Ascenders already making their mark here in Bradenton tonight.
You'd think, after that hook and ladder that got the points on the board for the Knights, that IMG might be scratching their heads a little bit. And nope. They were like, oh, that's nice. And let's just kind of respond with an even bigger play.
And it's not even like he caught the edge and got a big stretch down the sideline. He ran right through the middle, was dead to rights. A.J. Thomas had him in the grasp, and then just the incredible spin move to break that last tackle and break the final 30 yards. To get into the end zone.
Well, great vision to see, where those players were coming from, because he ran right up the middle of the field up until that last little spin move, and it was incredible to watch him navigate that field of Knights leading up to that touchdown.
And I think when we're watching the Sports Center Top 10 later, they might as well just put the hook and ladder and the kickoff return back to back.
That's right.
Unbelievable. Now Gillis. Off the tee. Again, there is a stiff wind breaking tonight, and now that is not Baptiste. That is A.J. Thomas trying to find some space. He gets up to the 34-yard line.
About Gillis real quick, I think what's impressive is he doesn't seem to need a lot of height, a lot of arc in that kick to get it down the field. It's still able to get a lot of distance despite, the lack of having to really get a high arc on that kick.
Also, the special teams for IMG hasn't really needed great coverage. They have just been able to be magnetic to that football and snuffing out any big special teams plays. So far, I know we talked about the keys of the game being avoiding big plays. So far, they've only allowed one, and it cost them big, but I don't think that's a play that they're going to let East Ridge run again.
No, I doubt you can pull that card twice, and we'll certainly see, but not seeing a lot of pass plays here by this East Ridge team.
Now that looking for Lumsden up the middle. It is a run for a short gain. They'll give him credit for 5 yards on the play.
Well, and also a quick hello to those watching out in Japan as we take another look here at the Facebook comments. I mean, I love it, getting all these people getting up nice and early to watch some IMG football.
And they're no doubt trying to look for Juntoku Koda, who was also involved in that tackle on special teams. He is a player that has been with IMG for many years and actually impressed a couple of years ago on the spring game, trucking one of the blue chip defensive backs. And standing at 5'8", 145 pounds, Juntoku Koda definitely made everybody in the stadium scream when he put an IMG defender on his backside.
No kidding. I mean, it's just an incredible presence, and and again, it's one of those things that, just because the IMG Academy is the program that it is, doesn't mean that they don't get just as excited when these great players come to the program.
And now Kandi back in pistol formation, 3 receivers to his right, 1 to his left. See if the Knights go to the air. They do. Kandi with that shoulder fake across the middle and almost intercepted. Getting a hand on it was PC Daniel, the 6-foot defensive back out of Chicago, Illinois. And that will bring up 4th down yet again, another 3 and out for East Ridge.
Well, and, you've seen them kind of make their home there right around the 35-yard line, with the exception of that hook and ladder play, but that they were able to pull off right from around the same spot. But as you said earlier, I don't think they have 2 of those in the bag that it's going to work against this IMG team.
And they are going to take a chance on 4th and long. Kandi back in that same formation we've seen. This time the 3 receivers to his left. Pressure coming, and that just across the middle, and it is not fumbled. Lumsden couldn't keep his hands on it. He would have been close to getting a first down on that short little screen, but the defensive line for IMG just putting on too much pressure.
Yeah. Right there, I'm sure it was pretty scary for the Knights because Teron Vincent also pretty much, had the arms, and the ball just went right between those arms, for Vincent there. I think, had he, just had a split second, he could have made a heck of an interception there right around the 35-yard line.
And now a roughing the passer called against IMG, so that will take the turnover away and will give East Ridge a first down in IMG territory from the 47-yard line. Chance to break through. Kandi rolling to his right. Pressure coming, looking for the deep ball, trying to find Justin Watkins. Just trails a little too far away. We'll bring up 2nd and 10 from the IMG 47.
Well, and there's a good example of what you see very often against this IMG team, that they are able to shut down the pass play, and again, East Ridge has been running it all game, and that's certainly where they've been able to make a little bit of progress, but until now, they haven't been able to cross that 50-yard line, and all the credit goes to an incredible defensive line.
So 2nd and 10, 32 seconds for East Ridge to try to add to their 6 points. Kandi, 2 receivers to each side. 1 man in motion. They go with the jet sweep. It's a double reverse to Watkins. They try their other trick play. Tries to run up the middle and only gets a short gain, about 3 yards on the play. It looked like it might have had a chance to go for more, but that IMG secondary just too much for East Ridge.
You can kind of see him maybe second-guessing himself a little bit there as he cut towards the inside, where I really think he had the opportunity to go downfield if he'd just gone straight. But here we go. They were able to make a small gain, but a gain nonetheless.
20 seconds and counting, looking for the air, and it is almost intercepted as Kandi is planted into the ground as he was releasing. And that will bring up 4th down and 7. The IMG 45, wind definitely too strong to kick from this far out.
Well, Kandi looking for Watkins there again, and I think, it might have almost been a mixed blessing that he didn't catch it because he was very well surrounded there, and so IMG Ascenders absolutely waiting for him to make that catch.
11 seconds remaining in the half. They'll take a timeout. We will take it with them. IMG 35, East Ridge 6. This is the Ascender Spring Game. Welcome back, Ryan Sudol, Jonathan Torres. The final 11 seconds of the first half. IMG Ascenders up 29 points, 35-6 is the score. They will get the ball to begin the second half as well. And Condi going to be looking to go to the air here. They have to be careful, though, because we already saw Brendan Radley-Hiles have that one interception as well as the kickoff return. So anything put too far down the field could turn into 6 real quick points for IMG.
Well, and they're really here on borrowed time because, again, so far the game has certainly not been in their favor as you look at the scoreboard. 7 seconds left on the clock, and I don't think they're going to be able to make anything happen.
And the incomplete pass will bring back the Ascender offense with 7 seconds to go. I don't think they'll necessarily try to get one offensive play in. Head coach Kevin Wright having a quick conference, and we'll see Bryson Lucero from his own 45. We'll see if they just take a knee and go into the end zone, but this formation does not look like they want to. Lucero in shotgun. 2 receivers to each side. Shotgun snap. Lucero looking downfield. Has time to throw, looking for the deep ball, and just too far with 1 second remaining. Intended for Nick Tapino. Another one of the Japanese players for IMG. They tried to get it in there. The wind just carrying it out of bounds.
The Tapino family watching all the way from Japan here on Facebook Live, and hello to them and good morning. But, you know, Coach Wright definitely not one to take his foot off the gas pedal, is he?
No, he definitely is not, and that is how we will go into halftime. We'll have a 17-minute break, but IMG Ascenders 35, East Ridge Knights 6. We'll have more action for you. But first, we'll pause and take care of some of our IMG Academy sponsors. Thanks to everybody that allows IMG to broadcast on Facebook Live. Again, if you have any questions you want to get in that we can address in the second half, you can do so on the Facebook Live feed. But we will step aside. Ryan Sudol and Jonathan Torres will have second half action for you about 15 minutes from now. You are watching the IMG Ascender Spring Game.
You ever have that day? You know, that day, that very moment, you got better. Your better got better. What if that day was every day? Here at IMG Academy, we rise each day with one rival, ourselves. Perfecting our practice to outdo what's been done, because we know the spotlight is stolen after the light runs out. Here, we study more than scouting reports. Here, no stat can ever measure our potential. And the way we see it, podiums are mere stepping stones. Our repetition creates separation, and those in search of shortcuts need not apply. Because in our school of thought, luck comes to those who earn it. This is IMG Academy. We are the Ascenders, and we are on the rise. show up. And when you show up at camp here, you'll be ready to compete anywhere. Everyone wants to be the first one in and the last one out. Me, I'm no different. It's no badge of honor. It's just because when I'm here, you're not. When I'm here, you're not. And when I'm here, you're not.
I had this goal. I wanted to be a professional athlete, so I would set my alarm at 5:35 a.m. and I would wake up, have a little bit of porridge, and then I would go out and take my bike to the gym. And at times, it was not that fun because it was snowy and it was dark and the sun hasn't even risen yet because during the winters the sun doesn't really go out. I love what I did. I love that I did it, and at times I just couldn't be more happy that I did it. You need to be focused. You need to be able to be focused, because there's a lot of things going on. But on the other side of the coin of that, you also need to be able to relax. Fånga båten. Focus on catching the boat. It's after I'm running down the dock and my boat's full of dreams is taking off. It's going away. And I need to get that perfect hit on the right total end of the dock. Perfect hit. To then jump and then land in the boat where I can catch my dreams and catch the boat. I have a lot I want to do. Like a lot I want to do. I don't want to just do one thing. I want to go to college and jump there and go to national championships, conference championships, and school records. And after that I want to move back home to Sweden, find endorsements, jump professionally, get sponsors. And after that, I want to also be a journalist. I want to travel the world. I want to write a book. I want to direct a movie. I want to do so many things that I can't even start to describe it.
My name is Simon Udrup, and I am IMG.
Here at IMG Academy, we rise each day with one rival, ourselves. Perfecting our practice to outdo what's been done, because we know the spotlight is stolen after the light runs out. Here, we study more than scouting reports. Here, no stat can ever measure our potential. And the way we see it, podiums are mere stepping stones. Our repetition creates separation, and those in search of shortcuts need not apply. Because in our school of thought, luck comes to those who earn it. This is IMG Academy. We are the Ascenders, and we are on the rise.
My name is Juntoku Koda. I've been running back at IMG Academy, and I'm from Tokyo, Japan. When I first came in here, I couldn't understand anything that people were talking about, coaches are talking about. We had the classes that are called ESL for the second language class. School teachers helped me a lot. Yeah, and friends, talking to friends. Yeah, just using English constantly is gonna help you learn. You get opportunity to learn English. There's coaches out here, and that's just great. You get to learn everything here if you want to play football at the highest level. Coaches the highest level, facilities the highest level, and English. If you're afraid to come, I know it's pretty hard, but this place is great.
So, you want to be the best? So does everybody else. See, it takes more than wanting it. You gotta show up. And when you show up and camp here, you'll be ready to compete anywhere.
I'm not really sure. We got somebody that might be able to give it away real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, excuse us. Trying to find this guy. Philip Moses, a linebacker. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dick Buckface.
So what do we look for? Well, we look for a guy that, loves to hit somebody, has the size, the speed, the competitiveness, as a team leader. The selection committee that has picked these high school winners, like Jalen Smith, he's a two-time winner. Manti Te'o is a two-time winner. It's amazing how they pick these kids out of thousands of kids, and they end up doing very, very well.
Oh yeah, I was very shocked. I wasn't expecting it. That was the very last, award to be given out. So, it was a shock for him to come in and give it to me. Well, it was really great. That was always a dream, to be known as, the best linebacker in the country. Ever since I found out of getting nominated for it, I was hoping that I would win it, but I was, trying to focus more on the season, help my team win, finish great. I completed the goal, so.
We watched Dick Butkus in our first meeting and make sure the young guys don't forget about him, so it's really neat to, at the end of the year, get the award. Pretty special. I treat Dick Butkus as like the godfather of linebackers, so it's special for me that played linebacker, and then it's special for not just the other linebackers, but the rest of the guys, but extra special when you play the position.
I think it's just an unbelievable opportunity, for Dylan and his family, and really, anytime you get awards like this, it's not just an individual award; it's a team award. So for us, our football team, for our program, I think it's a huge honor. The fun part about watching Dylan's growth, really going back to when he walked on campus in January, is just watch him become a complete football player. He's quiet, humble, always very focused in the classroom and the weight room all the time. But I think just the development of him as a linebacker and not just as an athletic guy out there running around on defense, has been fun to watch.
All the different things that's here, with the accolades and all the weight room, the coaches, the fields, and all the workouts they put us through, especially with my position coach, Coach Tommy Langford. He put me through a lot. He taught me a lot, and I feel like it helped me tremendously. It helped me become a better player. As far as the classroom goes, it helped me, tremendously with that. I have a 4.0 right now in class, straight A's. It's nothing better than that. I'm just ready to get on college level.
Amazing. It's amazing, and I just want him to continue on with this lineage. I mean, it's amazing. It's a great honor to have someone of that stature to relay an award like that to my son, so it's amazing. He's matured a lot. I think he was already there. It's just that he was at home, so I mommied him a lot. So now that he's off on his own, he can do things on his own. He became stronger, he became more self-sufficient, more independent, and he just grew into the man that I knew he would be.
It's been the guys like I said, the guys we've selected were some character people, and that's what I like to see. You've got some friends for life, because Matt, he's a lot younger than me, and he keeps in contacts with these guys all over. So somewhere along the line, when we get a major sponsor, which is very difficult because nobody wants to mess with steroids, we'll get everybody back together and have a luau or whatever. So.
Greetings, everybody, and thank you for joining us. On the show, we'll be discussing today's youth.
This is a generation that's been completely spoiled.
They don't want to work hard, but they really, really, really want to succeed.
They're slackers.
I mean, let's just get down to brass tacks.
They have no discipline, no work ethic whatsoever.
Follow through. Dropping that shoulder, come on.
They think they're so great at everything.
Keep pushing, C's.
Strong legs, one body, one more.
I mean, they just need to wake up.
They're stuck with phones in front of their faces. You know when I started working? When I was 13 years old. You won't see that today.
They all think it's Friday. I can't work today.
They're lazy and entitled and
Unmotivated,
impatient,
selfish,
crabby.
And welcome back to IMG Academy Field. Ryan Sudol and Jonathan Torres getting ready to bring you second half action here in the IMG Ascender spring game between the Ascenders and the East Ridge Knights out of Claremont. And John, often we talk about how IMG is a stepping stone for players to get to the next level. However, it's also an opportunity for coaches to get to the next level. This was probably one of the only high schools that lost a coach, which made way for head coach Kevin Wright to come in when Chris Wenke went to take a job in the NFL. Also just had a nice conversation with Donnie Abraham, who's now at the University of Illinois coaching staff. He was a former NFL Pro Bowler as well as IMG coach last year as well. So just not just for players, but coaches can find a way to get to that next level as well, especially for some of the retired NFL players. Donnie Abraham, great example. They've got their eyes on a few guys here. I believe University of Illinois has made offers to 6 players. A big problem the University of Illinois has had is keeping players from the Chicago area in the state and trying to keep them from going out. And I know having Donnie Abraham and some of the other members of the coaching staff here is definitely going to help try and solidify that. I know they're also taking a look at Vertus Brown as well as PC Daniel. again, to try to keep them in the state of Illinois.
Well, and again, the reason for that opportunity is because you do have a team that competes nationally. What a lot of people don't realize is that the Ascenders probably put on as many airline miles, or if not more airline miles, than some NFL teams, in a regular season. And so that obviously creates opportunities, as you said, not only for the players but for the coaches as well.
As we break into the third quarter, IMG with a 35-6 lead over East Ridge. And we will see how the IMG special teams reacts now, getting only their second kickoff attempt to return. The first one was ran back 97 yards by Brendan Radley-Hiles. As this one caught in the end zone, it's a touchback. And that one looked like Micah Abraham wanted to take a run with it. Instead, they'll get the ball from the 20-yard line. And again, if they score on this drive, the running clock by FHSAA rules will be activated.
Well, and Ascenders never really wants to take a knee. So I'm sure he was just itching to take that ball down the field, especially after that run that we saw after the punt in the second quarter in the first half of the game by Brendan Radley-Hiles.
So this will be the first play that IMG's offense will have from their territory. And Bryson Lucero, that ball slides out of his hands, and he is going to be down for a sack and a big loss, about 13 yards on the play. So not a good first start. That'll bring up 2nd and 23.
Well, and obviously, while that's an incredibly scary situation for any quarterback, I think you do have to give props to Lucero for being able to recover fairly quickly and minimize the damage there, as they did lose just a few yards from where they started from.
Now Lucero back from shotgun. And now running a defensive back blitz. Running up, that was, I believe, Juntoku Koda getting his first touch of the game on offense. Again, definitely one of the more the players love whenever June gets on the field and actually gets an opportunity to put a hurting on somebody, because in that small frame, he definitely packs a lot of punch. 3rd and 19. There's the shotgun snap. Lucero into the flat. And brought down at the 10, and a huge stop for East Ridge. And that will force an IMG punting situation for the first time today.
Yeah, well, again, I think what we're seeing here, as we mentioned in the last half, was Coach Wright here taking the opportunity to give some field time to some of the other players. I mean, there we saw Anthony Ganji with that ball, and not bad, moved the ball just a little, but certainly not what we expect from this Ascenders team.
And even though it was a punting situation, Lucero's going to keep it himself. And he's up trying to get to the 30. It's going to be close, or the 20, excuse me. And not enough, and that will be a turnover on downs, and that's going to give East Ridge an extremely short field. And I think what Coach Wright is trying to do there is give a little pressure situation for IMG, because, again, there is nothing on the line really here except trying to get some game minutes. So now with a short field behind them, we'll see how the Ascenders defense reacts.
Well, and it's one of those things that in a spring game especially, you want to test those pressure points, right? You want to see what your guys do when they're in an uncomfortable situation, when it's not working out in their favor, to see if there's any kinks in the system.
And now Condi, shotgun snap, pump fake into the flat. As a man, it is A.J. Thomas, but he is brought down quickly after a short game.
Tyler Westbrook there on the tackle. Nice job by him again, giving him just enough room to catch the ball, but not enough room to really make much out of it.
So 2nd down, 8 yards to go from the 18-yard line of IMG. Zach Condi and Brian Lumsden in the backfield, and seen some explosive play from Justin Watkins, who does not appear to be on the field for this down. Condi fakes across the middle, and that knocked down, and out of nowhere, I believe that was Sky Stefanik from Edmonds, Washington. It looked like that was going to be a complete pass, and just out of nowhere, Sky Stefanik reaches his hands up and is able to knock that down and bring up 3rd and 8 for the Knights.
Well, one of the things I'm continually impressed by when it comes to the Ascenders is that visibility, that being able to read the field, and not just by the key players, but by every guy on this team. They have incredible awareness of the ball and field position.
We'll call it 3rd and 7 from the IMG 17. And a timeout called by East Ridge. We will take it with them. 9:35 remaining in the third quarter. IMG 35, East Ridge 6. This is the Ascender Spring Game.
Everybody wants to be the best, but it takes more than wanting it. You gotta show up. And when you show up and can't hear, you'll be ready to compete anywhere.
And as they break the huddle, 3rd and 7 for East Ridge, trying to double that score that they have. 6 points on the 65-yard hook and ladder. Back in the first half, Condi, empty backfield. Shotgun snap, rolling to his right. Pressure coming. Condi winds up looking back corner of the end zone, and it is caught. Touchdown!
Wow.
Excellent defense by IMG, but a perfectly placed pass by Zach Condi puts A.J. Thomas into the back corner of the end zone and gives the Knights 6 more points.
It's absolutely right, and that's really, I would say, probably the most successful play other than the hook and ladder for Condi thus far, because, there was an IMG defensive player all over that and still managed to get it to the receiver to put some more points on the board. 12, in fact, for the Knights.
Now the kicker, Max Morningstar, looking to add one, and IMG again will jump. And now, as we talked about the broadcaster jinx that you brought forth in the first half, Jonathan, with saying that there weren't penalties, they have started to kind of compound over the second quarter and now here into the third.
Well, they had a clean first quarter, and then all of a sudden it just it seems to have unleashed something, I think, that the coach certainly didn't want to see in this game.
Snap is back, hold is down, kick is up, and that will be a roughing the kicker, so ideal position as they will get some extra yards on the kickoff attempt. A very close to being blocked. Instead, that will add on to the kickoff, but the extra point is good. 35-13, Ascenders still with a commanding lead.
Tate Jernigan there, on that special teams, and it's incredible to see the speed that kid has, because he really came out of nowhere and was within inches of stopping that kick there for the extra point. One of the questions we are monitoring here, Facebook Live, for those of you watching. Hello to everybody. Good morning to those of you out in Japan and watching in Australia. But some people asking how Sikowski did, behind in the quarterback position. And you want to give him a little rundown on that, Ryan?
Well, he did have the touchdown on the second drive, his first drive, and then his IMG second drive, and then Sikowski's second drive, which was the fourth for the Ascenders, ended in the first turnover on downs for the day. Sikowski, the victim of 2 big sacks, but for those of you Hurricane faithful that are hoping to see big things from Arthur Sikowski, didn't get a whole lot of chance to show off his arm, but still a very impressive first showing, and we expect him to only grow in this offseason. And obviously, head coach Kevin Wright has a great problem to have in 2 very capable quarterbacks in Zach Annigstad and Arthur Sikowski.
Absolutely. I mean, I'd say that they were pretty much on par. Really, the only kind of negative I would say would be for Sikowski, who had 2 sacks during his time, leading the team down the field.
And another touchback for the kicker for Thomas Leo for East Ridge, as he tries to put that one through the uprights. They had ideal field position kicking that from the IMG 45, so IMG another 80-yard field to go, very capable of making big plays. And we will see Bryson Lucero check back in.
Well, last time, in their last possession here, where they started exactly where they are now on the field, they, did have some mistakes that set them back. Really, pretty much wasted possession there. Let's see if they make something out of it here.
Shotgun snap. Lucero looking across the middle and right in between three defenders for East Ridge. Very risky pass, and lucky for IMG to not get picked off and put the Knights back in good field position. Will bring up 2nd and 10. Wind definitely starting to pick up at IMG Academy Field, blowing directly from the east to the west or towards your view. And that one handed, I believe that is Jernigan cutting forward. In fact, it is not. It is Juntoku Koda getting a first down and a big run for the slender Japanese running back for IMG. And they'll get 1st and 10.
You talked about the wind, and really it is a year-round factor here for the Ascenders, and not only for this football program, but for all the sports. I think we're probably only about 5 miles from the beach, and so we do get that wind whipping here probably on a daily basis.
And now that time we have Chandler Magruder finding some space and getting into East Ridge territory. Another big gain for the Ascenders, 2 big runs from 2 of the smaller running backs on the Ascender roster. Will spot that back in East Ridge territory at the 48-yard line.
Well, we're seeing some more shout-outs here on our Facebook Live feed. Thank you for those who are watching. But 72, Danielle Fa'alele, and 73, Evan Neal, back out on the field for the Ascenders.
And now the shotgun snap. Lucero back to the air and incomplete. Pleading his case is Nick Tapino. We'll bring up 2nd and 10.
Some are asking for Watkins and whether he's hurt. No, I mean he had plenty of playing time in the first quarter. Maybe taking a break here in this second half, but put up the first set of points for the Knights.
3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right, and that one tipped up, dangerous. Tip drill goes over the head of Dane Saltarelli, the 6'4" tight end out of Bel Air Bluffs, Florida. Lucero with another incomplete pass. That one just off the hands of an Ascender receiver. Will bring up 3rd and 10. As now we see Lucero and Magruder in the backfield. 2 receivers to each side. Shotgun snap. Good to Lucero, looking a little downfield. And that one, again, off the hands of Dane Saltarelli, will bring up 4th and 10.
Really a great opportunity for quarterbacks, to be a part of this Ascender team, as this defensive line really gives them a lot of time in the pocket, as we saw there on that last possession by Lucero.
And there will be a holding penalty, so East Ridge is going to decide whether they want the 4th and 10 or if they want to take a 3rd and 20. Looks like they may have been signaling that it was, in fact, declined, so they'll bring up 4th and 10. And usually you want to push IMG back as far away from the end zone as possible, but knowing that they're probably going to go for it on 4th and 10, Lucero, 3 receivers to his left, 1 to his right. Magruder accompanies him on his back left hip. Shotgun snap. A fake to Magruder. Lucero keeps it himself and takes a first hit and gains only a few. So now 55 yards to work with for the East Ridge Knights, and they have shut down the Ascender offense for 2 straight drives.
Well, it's really been their best performance of the game so far here in this 3rd quarter, both with great field positions in their early possessions in this 3rd quarter.
So now the Ascender defense will yet again try to shut this down. Looks like we might be seeing a quarterback switch. And we will, in fact, see number 10 for East Ridge, Troy Shirley, coming in. Shotgun snap and a high handoff to one of the Knight running backs. I believe that might have been Junior Peterson getting up to midfield, a gain of 5 for the Knights.
You know, again, one of the things that, you know, although the score doesn't reflect it, I think what's obviously been strong for this East Ridge team has been their running game. You know, I think against any other team, I think they proved to be successful as they've been able to make yards on just about every running play. Just against this IMG team, it doesn't get you very far.
Junior Garcia behind Troy Shirley. Shotgun snap. And Garcia tries to dart through, only gets one up to the 49 in IMG territory. Will give them 3rd and 4. Nice short field to work with for the Knights and a chance to extend this drive. 49 yards. They've already gotten 2 touchdowns. The last one, number 5, A.J. Thomas on a 17-yard pass from Zach Condi. Now we've seen a lot of the backups come in. There's the snap to Shirley, rolling to his left, looking deep, has an option, and that one just bobbles off of the hands of Tyler Blodgett, and incomplete will bring up 4th down and short.
Really shocked that Troy Shirley went for the pass there, being that other than the receiver, I mean, he had a pretty open field. He could have taken it up the field himself and may possibly even gotten that 1st down, but chose to throw it instead.
Now coming back on, Jacob Owens for East Ridge. 4th and 4, needing to get to the IMG 45 for the 1st down.
You know, again, being a spring game, you know, this is where these teams are trying out different plays, different formations, and certainly trying out different players to all in preparation for the 2018 season.
Shirley in shotgun, 2 receivers to each side. And he's going to keep it himself, tries to get up, and he gets the 1st down and then some, stretches forward to get the 41-yard line, and he does, and will keep the drive alive for the Knights.
Well, he's obviously not afraid to run the ball, and as I mentioned, I think had he done that in the last possession, you know, he would have been just as successful. And there, sure enough, he ran the ball up the field, and maybe the best run by the quarterback or any quarterback for East Ridge so far.
3 receivers left, 1 to the right. Shirley in shotgun. There's the snap, and his running back runs into him, causes a little bit of a mix-up in the backfield, and that play will stop before it ever has a chance to get started. And a nice stop for the secondary and the defensive line for IMG.
Turning into a bit of a one-man show here, as the last 3 downs, you know, have been runs by Troy Shirley. And, you know, maybe they're testing him out. You know, certainly, you know, they've kind of given equal time, or at least so far, between their 2 quarterbacks. And so far, Shirley's showing the most promise, I think, that we've seen out of this East Ridge team in the quarterback position.
Now Shirley takes the snap, looks left, pressure coming. That ball set up and almost intercepted. Getting a paw to it, I believe, was number 8, Andre Cisco, the 6-foot defensive back out of good old New York, New York. Able to get one hand to it, knocks it down, maybe had a chance at the interception, but Troy Shirley just left that one to hang, and is lucky that that was not a turnover.
Well, anybody who's watched an IMG game knows that if you're 2-on-2, you know, the Ascenders are gonna, you know, take the upside on that every single time. And there we saw, you know, almost an interception, but certainly a block on that pass.
We'll see if Shirley opts to go back to the air for East Ridge and the Knights. 2 receivers to each side. Shirley takes the shotgun snap, rolls, pressure coming, and a little bubble screen at the 40. As a man, it is Junior Garcia getting some space, and another 1st down. He's brought down in bounds. The clock will continue to run. Under 6 minutes remaining in this 3rd quarter, and East Ridge on the move.
Certainly looking like a completely different team than what we saw in the first half. They certainly were not getting this kind of field position. The points that have been put on the board thus far for East Ridge have fired up this team here in the second half.
So 1st and 10 for the Knights from the 23-yard line of IMG. Knocking on the door of the red zone. And looks like a penalty is going to be assessed against the Ascenders. Looks like they signaled a defensive hold And that will bring them, or a personal foul, excuse me, so that'll bring them half the distance. Ball spotted at the 11 or 12 yard line.
Well, just like they believe in baseball that you're not supposed to say certain things, I think I'm going to keep my mouth shut when it comes to the Ascenders and penalties next time as they continue to rack them up here in the second half.
Shotgun snap Shirley across the field, and a little too wide. That one got up into the wind, intended for Sammy Bekorist, and bring up 2nd and 10 from the 12-yard line.
A lot more passing we're seeing here from Troy Shirley, in the quarterback position on East Ridge. It again seems like a different team. They're not running the ball as much, certainly making far more progress on the field than they did in the first half.
So now they break the huddle 12 yards away from, again, cutting into that IMG lead that now stands at 22 points. Shirley takes the snap, hands off to Garcia, and shut down quickly. We'll bring up 3rd and 10. So still an opportunity for East Ridge to get a first down without getting into the end zone. But they will need a big play to get them to the 2-yard line.
Well, and at this point, I think if they're going to go to the first down, they might as well go for the end zone. I mean, they've only got a couple yards difference there. And again, it seems like a completely different team here as we are under 5 minutes in the third.
Shirley with the snap, and then that's sniffed out on that quick screen pass. We'll bring up 4th, so we'll see if they try to settle for 3 in this deep wind, or if they'll try to capitalize and get that first down or even the touchdown.
Not the big play you'd expect on a third down, especially, being so close to the red down. But, again, being a spring game, it could just not be what their objective is tonight.
Looks like they are, in fact, bringing a new unit back onto the field and trying to maybe rush the snap and get a few yards closer. And they were, in fact, onside. In fact, no, they will give 5 yards as they tried to get that quick substitution. IMG going to be called for offside. And the coaches were yelling at them to just try to get onside as opposed to running towards the ball to get in to block it. So 5 yards closer for East Ridge.
A clever move there by East Ridge to rush into that play because, now it's given them much better yardage. And although the last ball certainly went through the goalposts, they're going to get another shot at it here.
Standing over it, Thomas Leo for the 3 extra points, and it is blocked by IMG and picked up. We saw Drake Davis do something similar to this a couple years ago. Down to the 20, the 10, the 5, touchdown Ascenders. Oh my goodness. That is Nolan Smith, the 6'2 defensive lineman out of Savannah, Georgia, just turning the tables on East Ridge. They were on the 10-yard line. The block and the 90-yard return puts IMG up 41-13.
The Ascenders certainly not a team that you want to pin in the corner because they will bite you. And we saw that right there. I mean, it was incredible not only to see the block kick, but the little handoff that happened there as we watched the replay.
And there you see right into the hands of Nolan Smith at 6'2", 210 out of Savannah, Georgia, after he got past that one last wave, getting into the end zone for an IMG touchdown.
I mean, I think I was being a little generous calling it, a bit of a handoff. It was more like a fumble over, but, again, the awareness to realize that I don't have the ball, but I can hit it over to my teammate who doesn't have the defender on his tail.
Snap back, hold down, kick up, and good. IMG 42, East Ridge High 13. It's been all Ascenders all day. A couple of flashes of brilliance from East Ridge, but pretty much what we expected coming into tonight's match.
Yeah, definitely. But as you said, I think the coaches and the teams that come to IMG Academy or to get them on the schedule know exactly what they're getting into when you go up against a nationally ranked team and so again a top 5 team in the nation like IMG.
and the Ascenders, with that little bit of a chip on their shoulder, never quite got to that unanimous #1 in the country last year. And when you compare the strength of schedule between them and what was another majority #1 team in Bishop Gorman out of Las Vegas, IMG definitely had the tougher road throughout the season. Obviously not able to play for the FHSAA state playoffs, but Bishop Gorman winning their playoff games by scores of 60 and 70 to nothing against really not a whole lot of competition. And
right.
I know there were some rumors earlier in the season last year that might be a matchup that happens, and I think we might still be a year or two away from making it happen. But if the powers that be have anything to say about it today, I know that would be a matchup that would bring a huge crowd on ESPN.
Well, again, not only the limitations of them not competing in the FHSAA, but also the fact that I don't think when they're factoring in these rankings, they're taking into consideration the travel that these players have to go through to get to all these games around the country.
And now the boot hangs up into the wind, and it is muffed at about the 15-yard line, and pressure coming. And finally brought down just shy of the 25. It'll be 1st and 10. Ascenders now have East Ridge pinned back in their own territory for the first time in the second half.
Well, and again, on that note about travel, this, of course, this high school is all about preparation for that next step being college football, and travel, of course, being a huge component in college football. And I would say few teams adequately prepare their players for those circumstances or those variables like travel, and what that does to your body, especially when traveling across the country.
It is Shirley who remains in at quarterback. The handoff up the middle and fighting for extra yards. And East Ridge gets them just past the 30-yard line. A sizable gain on their first play from scrimmage with just under 3.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter.
You have to wonder if that last play, took the wind out of their sails, because again, the Knights were fired up, in this third quarter, and as we find ourselves with about 3 minutes left here, it's going to be interesting to see if they're going to recover well.
And now Lumsden finds some space across midfield, finally brought down by Sky Stefanik. And a sizable gain for the Knights, getting into IMG territory, down to their 45-yard line, a gain of 24 for Brian Lumsden.
Again, great response. I think, that's exactly what a team like this should do. Show that, despite the big play that just took place, when IMG had possession, that it's not going to slow their momentum down as they continue to try to move the ball back over to the other side of the field and try to make this game just a little more interesting.
From the IMG 45, a stoppage and a timeout against East Ridge. We will take it with them. 2:34 remaining in the third quarter. Ascenders 42, Knights 13. This is the IMG Ascender Spring Game. And welcome back. Ryan Sudol, Jonathan Torres, looking at the Facebook Live feed. Saw a couple people saying American Heritage could give IMG a pretty fun game, as they did a couple of years ago, ending on a controversial holding call as the deep ball thrown, and that one is intercepted. And Brian Allen, I believe, was the interceptor. No, in fact, it was yet again his second of the day, Brendan Radley Hiles.
That's right. You know, someone who, again, has put on an incredible performance in this spring game, not only, you know, putting points on the board for the Ascenders, but now, again, with another big play in that beautiful interception.
And we will see Bryson Lucero come back, the junior out of Loma, Colorado. 2 receivers to each side. He stands in shotgun. Snap is back. The middle trying to find some space. Takes the hit once he gets to the 20-yard line. And I believe that is yet again Juntoku Koda.
What I love seeing is the competitiveness that you hear from other teams across the state of Florida, because again, you know, Florida just produces some amazing football players.
And now Lucero, the hand to Koda again. This time he snuffed back at the 19-yard line, a no-gain play, so that'll bring up 3rd and maybe 5 or 6. And they are pinned back at their 19-yard line, trying to extend this drive, but the special teams and defense have been more than impressive. Just a little over 90 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. Shotgun snap, Lucero looking through the air, has a man, and just off the chest of Junior Garcia, a sure interception. Hits the ground, and you see him hang his head. He knows he should have had that. I don't think he was expecting it to come in with quite that amount of zip. And now we'll see Koda sub out for Chandler Magruder in the backfield. Yet to see IMG punt. So 4th and 5, they are going to go for it. Lucero. Shotgun snap. Looking back to the air, and that time he just throws it right into the turf, and he is hit quickly after, but the turnover on downs. Looks like that ball just may have gotten stuck in Lucero's hand just a little too long, and the incomplete will set up another short field for East Ridge.
Yeah, well, and what I was getting at is, you know, here in the Facebook live feed, it's great, you know, that you hear from fans of teams, you know, that, again, have great programs, and certainly some that have gone up against IMG, but, you know, we hear about American Heritage from Plantation. We hear about St. Thomas Aquinas, both in the Broward County area, you know, and, you know, there really is no better breeding ground of football players than the state of Florida.
And also St. Thomas Aquinas actually on the losing side of history last season, as they were able to give the first female head coach in Florida High School Association history her first victory, and that definitely knocked St. Thomas Aquinas out of their rankings. Made national headlines, and I know that,
sure.
that's another matchup that people have. Rumor is that the coach would love to play us, but the athletic director wants nothing to do with it. And I can't say that I blame him.
No, not at all. I mean, it's, you know, unless you really know the dynamics of this program, you know, and come into it with a reasonable expectation, you really don't want to do that to your team.
And a late hit out of bounds as the quarterback, Troy Shirley, was running out and got a hit right on the sideline. One of the big matchups on IMG's schedule this year that has been posted on Max Preps, a road trip just about an hour south of here to Venice. I believe the state runners-up in the 7A division last season. I know they've pumped out a few top talents, notably Dree Archer, who went on to MAC fame, and also a quick stint with the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the quickest players that you've ever seen on your feet as someone who used to work for Northern Illinois. He used to eat them up. So definitely going to have all eyes on that Venice game, and that is going to be circled later in the year. As now East Ridge trying to break through into the end zone. And touchdown, East Ridge on the 1st and goal after the personal foul late hit out of bounds. Will find the end zone, and it is Leroy Rushing adding 6 more for the Knights.
Replay here of, again, another touchdown by East Ridge.
What an appropriate name for a running back. Leroy Rushing with the rushing touchdown.
Well, and a good job there by the offensive line, you know, making that room for him to get into the end zone.
say that that was tipped, but it goes up and through. So with 38 seconds remaining in the third quarter, the score IMG 42, East Ridge 20. Again, we expected East Ridge to probably find the scoreboard once the main starters, again, after the first 2 or 3 drives for each Zach Annexstad as well as Arthur Sitkowski, the transfer who is already committed to Miami, did not anticipate seeing a whole lot more from them and some of the starters, and head coach Kevin Wright definitely wanting to get everybody some competitive game minutes. And after halftime, you saw East Ridge kind of do the same thing, bringing in their backup quarterback in Troy Shirley, who has helped put East Ridge on the board.
Well, and what's funny is that, you're talking about that matchup, which everyone is excited about as this team heads down to Venice next year. Really, Venice, not the place you would expect for a team like that to come out of. Not geographically a hotbed for high school football, at least from what we normally see here in Florida.
Yeah, mostly in the Miami, Coral Gables area, and also out of Orlando and Apopka. Have had a lot of NFL talent come from those 2 areas, and just a few from the Tampa Bay area. Former NFL quarterback and now with the USF coaching staff, Sean King, brought the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to a NFC Championship game. And that pressure coming, and that is Juntoku Koda, and almost gets stripped, but brought down at the 25-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Ascenders.
Well, like you were saying, that whole I-95 corridor down in Broward and Miami-Dade County has been unbelievable. If you even start to look into the number of football players that have come out of that 95 corridor is absolutely amazing. It's no surprise why you see so many recruiters in the state of Florida during high school football season.
And now Lucero running back to each side, 2 receivers to his right. 1 man in motion. And now with room up to the 40, to the 50, it is Tate Jernigan down to the 40. And into night territory, a huge gain. And that will bring them 36 yards for Tate Jernigan. We've seen a little explosive burst from that little guy, and he has been very effective in the IMG running game today.
Well, and again, I'll just say, I'll call him Little Wes Welker. Just because he's absolutely explosive. I'm shocked, but major props to Jacob Owens of East Ridge, who was able to, track him down and take him down there, but because that was a very explosive run for Jernigan.
Now Magruder with a few lateral moves and breaks about 4 tackles, and Lavelle Henry was in big pursuit. And you saw there Magruder just bouncing off of number 70 for the Knights, and incredible to keep his feet before finally getting brought down for a loss of 3. And that is the end of the third quarter. IMG 42, East Ridge 20. We'll have the final frame for you in just a moment. This is the IMG Ascender Spring Game. And welcome back to IMG Academy Field. Fourth quarter for the Ascenders. Now going right to left on your screen. It will be 2nd and 13 from the East Ridge 42-yard line. Lucero, pressure coming, rolling off to his right, has some space. Tries to keep it himself and finds a man, but a flag comes in late on the near side of the field.
I think what has to be encouraging for Ascender fans is the fact that both Annexstad and Satowski both had time on the field, and Coach Wright, I guess, confident enough in their performance and what he saw to bring in Lucero, who, you know, has made a few mistakes, but certainly has done a decent job of keeping the ball moving here for the Ascenders.
And the flag was for an ineligible receiver downfield, and I was asking if Sitkowski played at all. He actually did not get the start on the first drive. He had 2 drives, one that ended in a turnover on downs, one that ended in the second Ascender touchdown. As now Lucero, shotgun snap, has Magruder trying to find space but brought down after 2nd and 18. That'll bring up 3rd and the same, maybe a loss of 1, 3rd and 19. So now probably going to go to the air for Bryson Lucero from the 48-yard line in East Ridge territory. They go no huddle. 2 receivers to each side. Magruder on his left hip. Shotgun snap. They give it to Magruder. He finds some space, dances through to the 40, stays on his feet, gets up, and he will be brought down at the 35. A sizable gain, but still short of the first down. They need to get to the 30-yard line, and they will spot that at the 35, so 5 yards away from extending this drive.
Well, impressive to see that even after hitting about 3 or 4 East Ridge defenders, that he was able to pull off about another 5 yards in that run.
Now shotgun for Lucero. 2 receivers right, 1 to the left. There's the snap. He fakes to Magruder, looking downfield. Has a man, and it is right on the numbers. And almost into the end zone. Touchdown! Bryson Lucero on the connection to Will Huggins, the 6'2" wide receiver out of San Rafael, California. Perfect pass with the wind aiding the ball. Finds Will Huggins, and Will Huggins finds the end zone and adds 6 more for the Ascenders.
Well, and it looked a little iffy there towards the end as he seemed to be losing his balance, but he held on to jump into the end zone.
Now looking to add 1 more IMG. See the replay. And now we'll look to add the extra point. IMG approaching a number that they have seen many times in their young existence as a high school football team. They get to 49 with 10 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the game. IMG 49, East Ridge 20. You are watching the IMG Ascender Spring Game. Welcome back. Ryan Sudol and Jonathan Torres at IMG Academy Field in Bradenton, Florida, just a little south of Tampa Bay. The Tampa Bay area extended as IMG has just extended their lead to 49-20. A Bryson Lucero pass, 35 yards for Will Huggins.
Now, one of the things I find fascinating about this program is that it's not only about the physicality of the game, but it's also about the mentality of the game, as they also have sports psychologists here that work closely with all these players and develop them mentally as well as physically for the next level of football.
And this caught at the 15-yard line and some space. Running forward, trying to get as many yards as possible. Leroy rushing, brought down at the 45-yard line to give the Knights of East Ridge another short field and a chance. They have been able to score on their last few drives and keep the running clock from getting activated. So we will see what East Ridge has in store for the Ascenders and vice versa.
Well, and again, if you've been watching from the beginning of this game, I mean, you wouldn't think it's the same team. I mean, a stark contrast, and not really sure what was the turning point for this team. But it seemed that right after that second touchdown, it really seemed to put some energy back into this Eastridge team.
Troy Shirley from shotgun and stood up in the backfield. New running back checking in. That is Keandre McGlure. And he will be stopped for a short loss. Will bring up 2nd and 11 for East Ridge. Again, want to take a moment and thank our sponsors for their continuous support of IMG Academy. Gatorade, Under Armour, Modus, and Stream Sports, all making it possible for you guys to watch on Facebook Live, and did it for the first time last season and will continue it through the 2017-2018 season. Now Shirley with the handoff and then brought down, snuffed out quickly. Another tackle for loss, this time from Stefan Wynn Jr. Called his name a few times, and he is almost always in the backfield immediately. Brings that to 3rd and longer, 3rd and 13.
You know, I want to mention this not only because I'm a native of South Florida, but also because we do see a little bit of this chatter happening here on Facebook Live, which is the games early in the season against Miami Central and Miami Northwestern, both going to be great games to watch as well as, again, this IMG team is willing to take on just about anybody.
Shirley with the snap will keep it himself, tries to run up, and he is stopped again in the backfield. 3 plays for East Ridge, 3 tackles for loss for the Ascenders. See a lot of people also mentioning some of the teams from New Jersey, namely Don Bosco. 2 seasons ago, we actually saw Shea Patterson dismantle 3 of the powerhouses from the state of New Jersey in Bergen County and Bergen Catholic, as well as Paramus Catholic and also St. Joseph's Regional. 3 teams that are traditionally in the running for top teams in the country. Now in 4th and long, we will see East Ridge punt for the first time in quite some time.
Well, in both of the South Florida games that I mentioned, those are actually both home games.
The rugby kick is poison and just out, and it is caught by Zach Annixted on the sideline, one-handed, and a huge cheer from his teammates as they are definitely having fun. Normally not in competition until about August, but getting some May football. See him and Sitkowski having some conversations on the sideline as well. The ball will be spotted on the East Ridge 47. Shorter field for IMG and an opportunity to put this one in cement and end it. 1st and 10 from the 47 of East Ridge. It is Lucero. In shotgun, 3 receivers right, 1 to the left. Shotgun snap, the handoff has Coda with some room at the 40, tries to break a tackle, gets to the 35 and brought down, almost getting some daylight, and you see the encouragement there is Gerard Smith able to get the tackle on Juntoku Coda, who gets another first down for the Ascenders, but yeah, that's one of the smallest guys you will ever see on the field wearing the Ascender blue.
That's right, and props to Smith, because other than that, the field was wide open, and that definitely would have put some more points on the board for IMG.
And Dakota again dashing and darting through the line of scrimmage and up to the 28-yard line. Another sizable gain for Juntoku Coda.
Well, a quick hello to those also watching from Utah. A lot of people looking forward to IMG coming to Utah to play that the East team out there. And I'm sure IMG is looking forward to it as well.
And the 3rd straight play to Coda, but this time it will be snuffed out in the backfield for a tackle for loss. Couldn't really get going, and now we see a new quarterback in. That is Jackson Zager, a freshman from Westport, Connecticut, 5'10", 145. See some of the different backup offensive linemen as well. So now Jackson Zager gets his first minutes of the night. third and long, and jumping off sides will get 5 yards right back for IMG. And that will move them a little bit closer. So they will spot it at the 28-yard line. Bring up third and short.
Could be costly here for East Ridge as that gets them really close to the first down. But, you know, again, you give IMG a few inches and they'll take a foot and take it right into the end zone.
And now Coda darting through, getting the first down for IMG, and a couple more will keep the drive alive and bring up 1st and 10 for the Ascenders. And those of you just tuning in late, 49-20 the score in favor of IMG. 6:30 remaining in this spring game. There's the snap and a different quarterback in for IMG. That is Noah Russell. Another freshman quarterback from Lincoln, Nebraska will hand off to Juntoku Koda yet again. And a flag.
Well, and here we see a situation of, you know, 2 steps forward, you know, or 1 step forward, 2 steps back, as you know, East Ridge had just gotten a short penalty there, and you know, the Ascenders take a pretty big hit on yardage here.
So 1st and long. Now we will see what Noah Russell has for 1st and 20. All spotted at the 32. Russell the snap, handed to Coda. And straight back up the middle. Gets the 25-yard line, a gain of 7 for Juntoku Koda.
You know, one of those signs that you're getting old. You know, it's kind of bizarre to see 2021 as a graduation year for some of these players, but that's exactly what we got here in number 15, Noah Russell, quarterback for IMG.
And now brought down to the backfield, Magruder, as the clock continues to wind down under 5:30.
Looks like we might have a bit of an injury. Some of the players signaling to the sideline.
And they will take a timeout for the officials and the water break. We will take it with them, our last one of the night, with 5:15 remaining. IMG Academy 49, East Ridge High 20. This is the Ascender Spring Game. And welcome back, IMG Academy Field. Ryan Sudol, Jonathan Torres, the new quarterback in for IMG, Noah Russell, in a graduating year of 2021, as John just mentioned. And now the shotgun snap is high. And they try the play inside. It's, again, sniffed out in the backfield, and that will bring up 4th down from the 30-yard line. So we'll see if head coach Kevin Wright lets Noah Russell try to throw one up here at 4th and long. 4th and 17 from the 30-yard line. Shotgun, 2 receivers right, 1 to the left. In motion is Juntoku Koda. Russell making an adjustment at the line. Shotgun, hands to Koda. He's got off tackle left and tries to shoot forward but can't get to the first down. It'll be a turnover on downs, and East Ridge will probably have the last offensive drive of the night. And it looks like they will start from close to their 20-yard line.
As the South Florida discussion continues here on the Facebook Live feed, we are watching your guys' comments, so we appreciate you engaging with the feed. I think we are so fortunate to have such amazing teams that a program like IMG can play against on an annual basis if that becomes a tradition. But it really, I think, will elevate, as if it weren't already great enough, it will elevate the quality of play and players that come out of the state of Florida.
East Ridge. The handoff up the middle, pressure coming, and that is Keandre McGlure. Troy Shirley stays in at quarterback as he gets a significant chunk of yardage up to the 40-yard line. Another first down as the clock winds. 4 minutes and 18 seconds remaining.
Well, and don't let the scoreboard fool you. I mean, East Ridge does seem like a pretty well-rounded team. They've obviously got a great quarterback here in Troy.
And McGlure gets another 4 yards for East Ridge, and he will run to the sideline to get the call. Winding down to 4 minutes as we approach 9:30 local time, Bradenton, Florida. On the campus of IMG Academy, ever expanding number of soccer fields around us, as well as some new baseball fields getting put in. And we mentioned all the other sports earlier on. We forgot to mention golf and tennis.
That's right.
Also a big staple for IMG Academy, as Shirley running left, and he is brought down quickly. Xavier Thomas called his name a few times. He gets to Troy Shirley in the backfield and brings them back for 3rd and long.
Well, and anyone who is a native Floridian or has lived in Florida for a long time knows that really the what laid the foundation for a school like IMG was the Nick Bollettieri School of Tennis, and really that really spurned the idea, for a program like IMG Academy to happen.
East Ridge breaks the huddle. Clock continues to spin down under 3 minutes. Shirley, shotgun snap, looking downfield, pressure coming. This one just hung up and almost intercepted just through the hands. I believe that was Parks Cochran, the senior linebacker out of Charleston, South Carolina. Again, so many states and countries. You mentioned that just the international flavor here, but
sure,
so many states and just a bunch of new additions from Illinois, and not just the Chicago area, but DuPage County, which has pumped out such professionals as Owen Daniels, who's won a Super Bowl as tight end with the Denver Broncos, and also a nice career with the Houston Texans as well.
Well, and what blows me away is we've got players that are as far south nationally as Miami, and as far west and northwest as Wasilla, Alaska. And so, I mean, even the national component is quite impressive when it comes to where the players for these IMG Ascenders come from.
And a huge tackle by Gentry Hawkins. Nice pass completed by Troy Shirley, but Hawkins able to sniff it out and stop him from getting any additional yardage. East Ridge will turn the ball over on downs, and we will see the IMG offense one last time. Maybe.
Well, again, despite the score on the board, I think we definitely saw a few areas of improvement for IMG. They did get a handful of penalties. I'm sure the coach will address that, and that's a constant in his keys to the game in terms of what he looks to address for every IMG game.
Now, Liam Bird, the new quarterback, making his first throw, finds Anthony Ganji, 5'8" wide receiver. Again, we have now seen, I believe this might be our 6th quarterback of the night. Sitkowski, Zach Annexted, Liam Bird, Jackson Zager, and Noah Russell. So we will see Bird again in shotgun. And off up the middle, and on the inside arm, getting a couple of yards is Cameron Gillis, the running back / kicker out of Budapest, Hungary.
Well, and you mentioned us being kind of on our sixth quarterback here, and really, again, that's what a spring game is all about. I mean, some of these other guys are not going to see field time during the regular season, and this is a great opportunity for them to be in a real game situation.
Now the snap, Bird back to Gillis. Up close to the first down marker. Looks like he may have gotten it. And the officials will say, in fact, to move the chains, 1:39 remaining. As the Ascenders, after the first two teams took a commanding lead, still able to coast through. And I know Coach Kevin Wright is still going to have some words for some of the disciplinary, the penalties, as well as some of the big plays given up early on in the game that let East Ridge get on the board. Again, the 65-yard hook and ladder that no doubt you will see on SportsCenter, then followed immediately by the 97-yard kickoff return by Brendan Radley-Hiles. Back-to-back plays, and now delay of game against IMG. We'll move them back 5 yards after they got the first down.
Seemed to be a lot of confusion along the sideline there. Again, you know, one of the challenges when you are trying to get field time, play time for as many players as possible is the fact that these guys aren't used to being called on.
Now Liam Bird. Shotgun snap, looking left. Fires, has a man, and back to almost the original line of scrimmages, Anton July, 6'1" wide receiver out of Stockholm, Sweden.
You know, I kind of wish that the folks watching here on Facebook Live could see what's right in front of us, because it's quite a sight. You know, you've got what may be the shortest guy on the team, you know, in Jernigan, standing next to the tallest guy on the team just a minute ago. You know, number 72, which there's been a lot of talk about, Daniel Fa'alele, and it's just a sight to see the range in size and shape of these IMG players.
23 Division I offers for Daniel Fa'alele, playing his first competitive American-style football game. I have to imagine that in Australia he's had some experience in either rugby or Australian-style, Australian rules football. But
that's right.
Again, just an absolute beast of a man to see in person. It is quite the sight as the clock winds down. And that will be your final score. After 48 minutes of play, IMG Academy 49, East Ridge 20. And going up for the handshakes now after seeing the first teams and what we saw in the first half. A lot to look forward to for us, Jonathan. I know we're going to have a few of the games that are going to be here at IMG Academy Field. But, you know, head coach Kevin Wright, again, we can't say it enough, has a great problem to have, and two quality quarterbacks in Arthur Sitkowski as well as Zach Annexted. And then Bryson Lucero also put in a good shift. And the other three quarterbacks that we saw there in the fourth quarter in the class of 2021 going to have a lot to work on, a lot of growing to do, and just a very impressive showing by the Ascenders tonight.
Well, again, you can see the caliber of team that is the IMG Ascenders. When you can swap out players like that and them not miss a beat, you see that chemistry, you see that rhythm, not miss a beat, and be able to hold off this East Ridge team that, nonetheless was able to put 20 points up on the board, which is no small feat against a team like IMG.
And again, your final score, 49-20 in favor of the Ascenders. I'd like to take a moment. We'll look at some of the highlights from earlier tonight. This the first Annexted pass right across the middle to Jalen Jordan, his first touchdown. And then just see some of the pressure from the IMG players. The sacks just racked up. That one kept. Those wondering what Sitkowski did, he kept it, called his own number. Put IMG up 3 scores. And then you see the sacks again. This defensive line is no joke. And you just see, we didn't call his name much after he took a seat, but Noah Kane averaging almost probably more than 10 yards a carry early on. You see Jalen Jordan's second touchdown pass, and then the interception there by Brendan Radley-Hiles. Hard to argue against a player of the game. That would be mine. Number 44, the University of Nebraska commit. Now you see Bryson Lucero in the flat, and then the turnover Again, just one of the very few miscues by IMG. And now here's the hook and ladder that belongs on SportsCenter. There it is, Justin Watkins, #1 on East Ridge, also #1 on many scouts' list for the best football player in the country. #1 ranked athlete, and there he was showing it on that 65-yard hook and ladder. The very next play, 97 yards for Brendan Radley-Hiles, and here you see him spin right away from A.J. Thomas, who also added a touchdown for East Ridge. 97 yards to pay dirt, and just ripping the heart out of the East Ridge Knights.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think if you were to give an MVP of the game, it'd have to be, Hiles there, because it's just an incredible performance in terms of responsiveness and awareness of his surroundings. But another great showing by this IMG team. You know, they consistently put on the kind of show that people want to see when they watch an IMG game. The points obviously show that. But again, I think where you saw East Ridge get the momentum that they were looking for to put some points on the board was when IMG started to make a few mistakes, and I'm sure Coach Wright is going to be focusing that on weeks to come.
And for some of the players that have multiple commitments and multiple offers, it'll be interesting to see where some of these guys leave. We also saw some scouts earlier today from the University of Virginia, also LSU. Obviously, the LSU scouts, knowing that they have a nice pipeline, players from years past like Drake Davis and Savion Smith, trying to get that new level of IMG player to get to go to their universities. Again, a lot looking forward, especially all eyes will be on Arthur Sitkowski making his commitment down to Coral Gables and the University of Miami. And again, we'll wait to see where guys like Zach Anixted and others are making their decisions. Want to thank all of our sponsors for allowing us to have this game on Facebook Live: Gatorade, Under Armour, the Hospital for Special Surgery, Modus, and our presenting sponsor, Stream Sports. Again, your final score 49-20. And for everyone at Stream Sports and my broadcast partner, Jonathan Torres, I'm Ryan Sudol, saying we hope you enjoy the broadcast. If you're an Ascender fan, we know you enjoyed the outcome. Have a great night. We'll see you at the beginning of the 2017-2018 season.